Hey guys, welcome back to my Forever World in The Sims 4. This is my long-term save where I rotate between households and let all the stories kind of connect. And I swear, every time I think things are under control, the game humbles me like immediately. I'm just gonna go over like the first 3 weeks of the second sim year. So quick side note, I like to track how many times the seasons start over in game. It's already been one full sim year, or like I call it a sim year. It's just a year in the game. So, it goes through winter, spring, summer, and fall, and then it starts over, obviously. And I feel like it's an accomplishment to be able to get through all four seasons. So if you want to get caught up on the history of my save file, you can go back and watch my other video where I cover what happened in the first year. Um, so I started playing these 3 weeks, thinking it was going to be kind of calm and cozy, and maybe I would, try and wrap up a few of the cliffhangers that have been going on. But I just there's just a lot to get to. Um, I'm actually concerned for my save file at this point. This went from, oh, I'm gonna, start off a little calm and cozy. Um, and then it turned into arson and murder. So well, let me catch you up. So we started the new year with a new sim. Her name is Lee Chi Chi. She's a mermaid. Her traits are child of the ocean, generous, mystical, and gregarious. She wants to open a bakery on the beach. So she has the esteemed entrepreneur aspiration. I gave her very calm vibes. I kind of needed a break from from the chaos of all of my other households. So let's get into her first week. Because she, wants to have a bakery on the ocean, I decided we're just going to choose productivity, like day one. So we register her business, and she started just baking. And everything was going pretty great, honestly. But because she's a mermaid, I decided that she would prefer to swim in the ocean rather than take a bath or drink water. So when her hydration got low, I took her to the beach to go for a swim. And that's when she met Paka Ua. I'm sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce the name. He's one of the pre-made mermaid sims that come with Sulani. He's also another mermaid. And immediately I'm like, he's cute. Is he a potential love interest, or is he just like a really supportive friend? Because he started being very present. He literally comes over the next day after just meeting her, whenever she closed her business. Uh, and I'm thinking that he's wanting to maybe congratulate Lee on her first day, but like he just met her. Um, so he's obviously very friendly. That is part of his personality. But still, then he comes back the next day, which now I'm getting the vibes of does he like her? Is he into Lee? And he gives her a handcrafted guitar, like a guitar. Nobody is giving out handcrafted guitars like that platonically. At least not the people they just met 2 days ago. That man is in love and I'm calling it, okay? And Lee is just like, "Oh, thank you." And I'm like, "Girl, open your eyes. Open your eyes." So in the middle of the week, her bakery hits 1 star, which honestly I was pretty proud of her for. And we're celebrating anything at this point. She doesn't have any kids, so she has a lot of extra free time on her hands. Um, and I decided that she would invite Paka out because he's been so supportive for the opening of her business that it feels like Lee would want him to celebrate with her. And they talked all night. Like, sunrise hits, and they're still chatting. At that point, I'm like, "Okay, either they really are soulmates or neither of them knows how to go home." But, like, they're not autonomously flirting with each other, even though Lee, at this point, is definitely attracted to him, and I'm getting the feeling that he is also attracted to her. So I have her go home and she sleeps the entire day. And then I realize that her bakery is not making enough money to pay her bills like at all. So she got a part-time job as a lifeguard, which is actually kind of iconic, like a mermaid lifeguard. Who better to save people from drowning than an actual mermaid? They live in the water. Anyway, she goes to the beach after work and meets Paka again. And I got tired of waiting for them to flirt with each other autonomously, even though Lee was attracted to Paka at this point. So I had her test the waters and flirt with him a little bit, and he didn't reject her. So I finally had her confess that she's attracted to him. And I'm like, yes, progress, growth, romance. I was so happy, which honestly should have been my first red flag for the next 2 weeks. Because then I switched households. And everything really did go downhill. I had some plans for, the Capulets and the Montagues that I was kind of working on, and, okay, listen. So we move to the Capulet household, and let me just say, this family is already a mess, okay? I've already explained it, but Zoe Capulet is married to Pierre Capulet, but she's been cheating on him with his archenemy, Lyle Montague. Um, this is This is like listen, cheating is bad, all right? And it's worse because she has the loyal trait. She's fully going against everything that she believes in and also completely betraying her marriage and her husband. But this feels like next level cheating, like spicy cheating or something, because she decided to cheat with the person that her husband hates most. This feels so petty and unnecessary. She already had, like, 1 baby, and I have a mod so that way I can do a DNA test, and, well, Evelyn is Pierre's child, okay? But, like, that's already insane behavior for her, like, she's keeping this such a complete secret that she had to secretly DNA test Evelyn, but then she has another baby, and she just knows that this one is Lyle's, and I'm like, I know that it's also not Pierre's kid because that baby is way too pale to be Pierre's. And, um, yeah, I'm fairly certain that this one is Lyle's kid, and at this point, I'm like, "Zoe, can you please just stop?" Which I'm kind of hoping that she is really just looking at it this way as, maybe this is her sign that she does need to stop. Like, this has clearly gone way too far. There is a child that has been made. Um, because of an affair. I'm honestly like speechless at this point. This is a lot to happen. Um, but Zoe, she decides to lie to everyone and just hope for the best, which great, but that means disaster is just waiting to happen. So the first day of the week, it is her birthday, so she has a birthday party and she ages up and everything kind of seems okay. And then Lyle shows up like uninvited. Like Zoe is cleaning after like everyone left the party and everyone had gone to bed. So Lyle just shows up and knocks on the door, and Zoe just lets him inside, and he's like uninvited to the house, okay? And I'm suspicious. I'm like, what the heck is he doing here? And Zoe just let him in, and I'm just like, Zoe, I thought we were gonna try and stay away from Lyle. So I'm like, well, why? What could he possibly be here for? Because it's really late at night, and I don't think he's here to do things with Zoe because like Pierre is in the house, and I don't think Lyle really wants to get caught at this point. Um, so I had to come up with a reason, and because one of the babies there is most definitely his kid, maybe he's there to see the baby. So I'm gonna go with Zoe thinks he's there to see the baby. So she leaves him alone in the kitchen. Lyle started cleaning the oven, which I thought was really weird because he's cleaning the oven in his enemy's house. So, so I had to come up with something else that was going on, while he was alone in the kitchen, touching the oven. So I landed on the fact that he was not cleaning the oven, he was sabotaging the oven, so that way it would catch on fire the next time it was used. And whether or not it actually did, I didn't really care for. I was just trying to come up with a reason why he was doing that. Okay, so anyways, he leaves after a meeting, and Zoe, she finishes cleaning, but now she's hungry and there's nothing to eat because everybody ate all the cake. So I have her cook, and the stove catches on fire, like, instantly, and the whole kitchen is up in flames. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I cursed my game. I cursed my game because I came up with this really weird reason that Lyle would be messing with the stove and cleaning it. And now what I said might possibly happen has actually happened, and Zoe is the one who is on fire. So everyone wakes up. Like, Pierre wakes up, and Gabrielle and Lionel, they all wake up and they run outside. And Pierre saves both babies. He saved Evelyn, and then he ran back inside and saved Miranda and just laid them on the ground in the snow because it was the middle of winter. And I'm like freaking out because the game is glitching at this point. So I can't I keep telling Pierre to go and extinguish Zoe. And instead of doing that, he cancels that action and just starts screaming again. So then I try to have Pierre call the fire department, but it took like 4 hours for the fire department to show up. So, you could already guess what happened there. They showed up way too late, and I also tried to have Zoe extinguish herself, but no. No, none of this was okay. She didn't make it. She died. Zoe dies, just gone. And then the fire department showed up and put out the rest of the fire. So they're standing over her dead body. Well, Grim is also standing there next to her. And like, the fire isn't even completely out. The fire department stood there for a solid 30 minutes, kind of just staring at Zoe's dead body with Grim standing over her. And then they put out the fire, and everyone else is outside screaming, and the babies are all cold. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on in my game? This is way too dramatic." I had to pause the game and just scream because this this was the most unhinged thing that could have happened. I just started playing the Capulets again, and here we are. Zoe's dead now. Great. So the next day, they have their funeral, like a funeral for Zoe, uh, and the babies age up. Evelyn and Miranda, they finally age up into infants. And now I can actually see that Miranda is most definitely Lyle's kid because no one in this house has red hair and green eyes. Yet here's Miranda with red hair and green eyes. I was absolutely screaming. I was like, oh my gosh, how does Pierre not know about this? Like, this is all, like, Miranda is all of Lyle's kid. Every single inch of her is Lyle, okay? And I'm still trying to process what happened with Zoe because that was so tragic and so horrific. That was so traumatizing. And now I'm sitting here going, Lyle really said enemy elimination and completely missed his target. So so then the next day, Gabrielle and Lionel, they age up into teens, but they're still, like, super sad. So then we get, like, into the other half of the week, and Lionel goes out to the boardwalk to feel better. He was, like, really sad, okay, and I was, like, trying to figure out ways to try and, like, just at least cover up the sad emotion with something else, so that way he could do stuff. And, I thought, maybe taking him to the boardwalk would give me a chance to test to see if, like, the rides there would provide a different kind of moodlet that would override his grieving moodlet, which they did. And then he also met Cassandra Goth at the boardwalk, and it was an instant crush for him. Heart eyes, instant crush whenever he talked to her. And so they spent the whole evening together. And then he kissed her. And I'm like, okay, finally something wholesome. He's moving forward in life. He's found love. That's great. Um, but it's not that it's like we already know what's going to happen with the Lewises. Even though like they're not here. If you've watched my other video, you already know what's going to happen with the Lewises. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Happiness, stability for maybe 5 minutes. So we end their week. That's what that ends on. And now we switch over to the Montague household. Lyle's actually feeling super guilty, as he should. Obviously, he's been cheating on his wife with Zoe Capulet, the wife of his mortal enemy. Okay. And now he has like an affair baby, and then he accidentally killed Zoe. So so I take him to the cemetery to cry over Zoe's grave, and then her ghost appeared, and so I'm like, "Oh, Lyle, you are done. It's so over for you." I instantly came up with a reason why her ghost would come back for Lyle versus coming back like during the funeral that the Capulets held. She's not a friendly ghost. She wants revenge, which I thought was the best way to be able to play off her, showing back up. So I added her to the house. Meanwhile, Antony decides to go exploring near Moonwood Mill. I kind of just wrote it in that he heard a rumor that there was something weird going on out in Moonwood Mill, and Antony, being the adventurous kind of guy, um, wanted to go check it out on his own, by himself, completely alone, because that's always a great idea. Nothing bad ever happens when you do that. So he asks around, and he asks the bartender about, like, what's going on in Moonwood Mill, and then he, gets some information from the bartender about a creepy shack out in the woods, which is also something that you totally want to go and check out completely on your own by yourself. That makes total sense. So he goes and he finds the signs and then completely ignores them, and then he goes up to the creepy shack and then gets attacked by Greg, which if y'all don't know what happens when you get attacked by Greg as a non-werewolf sim, you get turned into a werewolf because he bites you. And I just played it off as he just goes home and he's like, "Yeah, that was weird." I'm concerned though because being a werewolf is not a good idea. So now I'm kind of regretting what I just did to my own sim. I chose to do this to him, and now I'm afraid that he's gonna die because werewolf. If your sim gets bitten by a werewolf, in the process of them turning, they'll have cravings. Their hunger bar will drop drastically. So if you don't have them constantly eating food, they might actually starve of hunger before they even turn into a werewolf. Luckily, I was able to keep him alive. So, like, he goes through the transformation. He's foaming at the mouth, and he has the bites on him. And, I was afraid that he was gonna die, so I had him just, like, constantly eating, um, before he turned. So he turned into a werewolf, obviously, he had his first transformation, but it was right in front of his mom, Jessie Montague, and I lost it because right whenever I saw her freak out, I then realized that it was also Winterfest. So Winterfest was completely ruined at the Montague household because of my choice to turn Antony into a werewolf. But on top of that, Zoe was like summoning trash piles in the house and summoning puddles in the house and making it all dirty and nasty. And she was also causing Jesse and Lyle to fight with each other all the time. So, on top of having a werewolf rampaging through the house, and breaking everything. There's also a ghost making everything dirty and causing people to fight, and also breaking stuff on top of that. So Santa Claus was not happy whenever he showed up. Like Father Winter was not happy whenever he showed up. It was dirty and gross. And like I wasn't able to decorate because I had the family just basically trying to fix things and clean things before he showed up, which did not work out. Okay. But then I had to pause the game again because like when a ghost is using their powers, they have the power to do like an aura, and one of the auras is to make people angry. So Zoe was like had that aura, like she started having the aura. I don't know what words to use. I'm sorry. So she had that aura going, and Jesse and Lyle started arguing with each other due to that aura. Jesse got so angry, she died. Like she just straight up died. So now I I don't what do I even do with this? Because Jesse got so mad because of Zoe's aura, her angry aura, that she got enraged and died. And Zoe basically killed Jesse. Zoe, Lyle's affair partner, the person that he accidentally murdered, has now turned it around to where she has murdered Lyle's wife. And this isn't really like perfect revenge. This is really not what I was planning on in terms of revenge. I just looked up like things to do with the ghost to kind of make Lyle's life completely miserable. I wasn't planning on her murdering his wife like that. So just I'm speechless. I am so speechless because we basically end this with Lyle can't sleep and he's being haunted 24/7 and his wife is dead and his son is a werewolf now. This man's life is over, like completely. He has I think he's honestly to blame for the ruining of his own life because he chose to um have an affair with Zoe. And if he didn't, then, maybe, just maybe, he'd still have his wife. So yeah, I started these 3 weeks out with a peaceful mermaid bakery and ended with betrayal, murder, ghosts, and a werewolf transformation. I love how all the stories are connected. I do. I love it so much, but it's also so stressful. So let me know what you think is gonna happen next because I genuinely do not know how this can get worse, but I'm sure it will. And if you like chaotic storytelling like this, please subscribe. And the next video, we will be going over the Lewises, the Goths, and back to the mermaid household, which will be great. It'll be great. So yeah, just leave a like, subscribe, bye.